Man, guys, I am so excited. I actually finally have the couch that I mentioned I had ordered 3 months ago and was still waiting for. It finally came in, and now I actually have a real place to sit and relax, and it's so comfy, and I'm just so excited that it's finally here to actually have a couch. I kind of forgot what that was like, that luxury of being able to relax and stretch out in front of the TV. But now it's here. Finally became a reality. I even got to hang up the picture that you guys have been asking me about. That's sometimes in the corner of my videos. I was waiting until I could hang it up in front of my couch. So finally, it's here and my apartment feels complete. Let's go ahead and get started with today's class. Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today's class is going to be a book discussion, and we are going to be discussing the first book in the Hidden Legacy series called Burn For Me. But before we go ahead and jump into the discussion, I want to just really quick touch on the trivia question. For those of you who are new to the trivia and might want to join in, it is on the website fantasyfictionfanatics.net. On the right-hand side, if you're on desktop, you'll scroll down just a tiny little bit, and it will be on that right-hand side for you to answer. If you're on mobile, you'll have to scroll almost all the way down, and it will be towards the bottom there for you to answer. So last 2 weeks, actually, when last question went over for 2 weeks, the answer was true. It was a bit tricky. I had several people who thought it was false, so thank you so much to them for trying and giving it their best guess. But it is actually true. Originally, griffins were known to be guardians of treasure or precious items that people treasured. And the person who got it correct was Christian. Griffins drink at the Drunken Clam. I would love to know what that reference is from, because I actually have never heard of the Drunken Clam or read anything about griffins drinking there. So, Christian, if you'd like to fill me in on what that is, I'd be super interested. But anyway, thank you again for everyone who participated. I always have fun playing with you guys and seeing who gets it right and what kind of guesses you guys give. So if you'd like to check it out, go ahead and go over there. We would love to have you play with us. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into today's class for Burn For Me. It is an urban fantasy for those of you who do not know, and for those of you who have not read it, this will be a discussion on a bunch of different things, so there could be some spoilers, just as a warning for you guys if you are thinking about watching this video without having read it. A quick recap of the main story is that Nevada Baylor, who is a private investigator, and it has her company owned by one of the houses, House Montgomery, and Montgomery hires her company and demands that she catches a fire mage named Adam Pierce who has murdered somebody while robbing a bank. She makes contact with Adam after a short little bit of investigation, which leads her to meeting with Mad Rogan, who is interested in finding Adam's accomplice, who is his cousin's son. And she ends up being in a partnership with Mad Rogan in order to find Adam. And so they start hunting together since they're both interested in finding him, so they can then find also Mad Rogan's relative. And they discover that he is collecting pieces of this Indian relic known as the third eye of Shiva. And this is going to amplify his power. If he has all three of the different pieces to put the relic together and he wears it, it will magnify his power, and he is already a really strong, top-of-the-line mage. So they're really hoping that that won't happen, and they're trying to stop him then, once they figure that out, trying to stop him from getting all the pieces and burning everyone to the ground. Adam does end up completing the relic before they get to it, but they find him right as he's completed it, and he's starting to do the fire that's going to burn down the whole area. but Rogan is able to stop it with his own magic, and though there is the main area that they are at is burned down, everything else is safe, and everybody who was living in the city and hiding underground was saved. So that is our main recap of the entire novel. That's the basic plot points, the main highlights of the basic plot line for this first book. Now let's go ahead and transition into talking about point of view. So the point of view for this particular novel is first person from Nevada's point of view. And this makes Nevada obviously our strongest character. As first person point of view, we've talked about before, you really are close up with that character. You're truly experiencing the story from that character and how that character experiences it. So you get very, very close up, a very strong relationship with the reader and Nevada as our first person point of view perspective. We get to know her very, very well. We get to know her relationships very well, and her the way that she handles the situation going on around her. We can understand that and really feel what she's going through and why she makes the choices that she does. Also makes it so that way with being from Nevada's point of view and her trying to figure out what's happening with Adam and trying to make him come in. The mystery really unfolds very naturally as Nevada and Rogan are trying to figure out where Adam is, how to bring him in, and then as the relic is presented, and they figure out that he's actually trying to accomplish a goal with these different times that he's setting up spectacles and burning places down, that he then is there. Then they are trying to figure out from there what he's trying to do, and so the whole mystery and the whole collection of events kind of just roll together really nicely as Nevada is working through her trying to bring Adam back to his house, which is what she is hired to do under threat from Montgomery's house, saying that they're going to claim the loan that she has on her business with them. So very, very interesting, and of course Nevada is a super interesting character. And we'll talk about her in just a second. So it's really nice that we get it from her point of view and we're up so close and personal. I do feel like she is a great choice to have as our main character. It could have been, Mad Rogan that we had as the main character, and that definitely would have been a different experience. It could have been Adam's perspective that we had it from, though he is our antagonist, and so it would have been a very, very different type of book if it had been from Adam's point of view. If it had been third person point of view, where we had that little bit of distance from Nevada, it also would have been a little bit more of a separation for us from the events. So I really like how the point of view is up close, personal. We really get deep into what's happening with the story and exactly how Nevada is being affected by the events around her. So I think it's a really great choice for this novel to be first person. Though I will admit I do have a little bit of a bias for first person point of view, since that is my favorite to read. I really like being up close and personal with the characters, especially if they're a good character, and really engaging to read. That truly helps having that first person point of view. Okay, next, let's go ahead and talk about characters. I've got 3 different characters I want to talk about, and one is a group of characters that I kind of rolled into one aspect. So let's go ahead and start off, of course, with Nevada, since she is our main point of view and our main character. So we're really, really close to her. We really understand her, get a very good close-up view of who she is, why she does what she does, and how everything is happening to her. So we really learn that Nevada definitely has a sarcastic sense of humor. And that is one of the reasons why, for me, I truly love this character, is that she is so sarcastic. And it's the kind of dry humor that just kind of rolls casually into the book and rolls casually out of her mind, or casually out of her lips as she says things, and it really is just perfect placement on her part for how she thinks about things and how she says things. and the way that she reacts to people, especially when they're threatening her. It's awesome, her sense of humor. So definitely if you like a sarcastic sense of humor in your main characters and those that are not intimidated enough to keep their mouth shut when they should, you'll really like Nevada. She's very strong-willed, very stubborn. Once she set her mind on something, she will not back down. She will not have her mind changed. She will not be reeled in at all. She is just a girl on a mission, and she knows what she wants to do and what she feels is right, and she is going to do it. She's also extremely, extremely loyal, especially to her family. She is very much a family-oriented person. She loves her family to death. She would do anything for them, anything at all, which is actually what prompts her to be in the middle of this whole situation she didn't want to be in to begin with, is because Montgomery said, hey, if you don't, we're going to collect on your loan, you'll be homeless out on the street, because her family does live at their office because they have no way to support the loan they are paying, as well as paying rent or a mortgage or anything else. So she's super, super loyal to her family and to the people that she considers that she's close to, and she's definitely very much a family-oriented person. They come first no matter what, when, or where. She's also just a very good person and has a very strong moral compass. So morally, the way that we would view, or most people view, good and bad, she is definitely strong on the good side. She does not compromise her values. She does not compromise what she views as right or wrong for any reason. And usually that is why she doesn't take cases like this that are so crazy, is because one, she doesn't want to get killed, but two, she doesn't want to have to take other people's lives. She doesn't want to have to defend herself. She doesn't want to have to get ugly. So she usually would tend to go for more casual cases. Of course, this time she does have to make those choices to do things that are not so great to people, and that really bugs her and that really hurts her inside, and she has to come to grips with that. So she's a very good person with a very good, strong mental, moral compass. And that's another thing that I think makes her such a great character, and such a great person to have from her point of view. And then magic. Last but not least, let's talk a little bit about her magic. She can tell when people are lying. And at times, if she taps into it correctly, she can force people to tell her things that they don't really want to tell her. I think that that's a very interesting magical ability to have, and I think it must be a very hard way to live, because you can always tell, no matter who's talking to you, no matter what's happening, that somebody is telling you a lie or telling you the truth. And especially if somebody lies to you a lot, or lies to you for reasons that you are not aware of why they're lying, that can be a very hard thing to have in relationships, is to have somebody lie to you and to be able to know that they're lying, and that can cause rifts, can cause problems, I'm sure. So she is somebody that very much values truth, very much values telling the truth, values, being honest. Her family is very honest people. They don't really trigger her lying or anything like that. And so it's very important for her as a person to understand what makes people lie, for her to understand what it means for somebody to lie to her. Makes it, I would think, a hard way to live. And as she has mentioned in her time when we read her about her, is that she doesn't want to actually go into the general type of work that most people with disability would, which would be interrogating people and really trying to force secrets from people. So very interesting that she definitely did not want to be in that line of work, and is using it instead for her private detective endeavors that she has for her business. So I think she's a very super interesting character, someone that is easy to love and easy to follow, someone who's easy to have a connection with as you read, and to understand where she's coming from as somebody who is an average person, who works hard, who cares about getting the bad guy, and just wanting to have a simple life, but also has a good sense of humor and can be very sarcastic, which for me is something I love in characters. What do you think of Nevada? Is she something that you really like? Is she someone that you find is an easy person to be from the point of view, or would you prefer somebody different? What are your thoughts and feelings on her? Next, I'd like to talk about Mad Rogan. And Mad Rogan is a character who, for me, I find extremely interesting. He is one of the characters that I find very hard to figure out. Kind of like, for those of you who know Dragonlance and like Raistlin Majir, he's someone who I always am like, it's so hard to truly know him, to like really feel like you truly understand his character 100%. And Mad Rogan is another one of those characters that I'm just like, it's so hard to really pinpoint who this person is and why he makes the choices that he does and why I like him when he's such a terrible person. I really do like Mad Rogan a whole lot. And I don't really understand why, because he is a horrible person with a very strange moral compass. He is a very calculating person. Super calculating, super smart, but super, everything must add up to something else. Like, he always does something for a reason. He's always very matter of fact, very straightforward, blunt. This is how it is. This is how I see things. Very sees the world kind of in a I don't want to say black and white in the fact that, there is no wiggle room there, but very much that he states things that way, where it's like, this is just the truth of the matter, like, not my fault kind of thing. But he is absolutely loyal, 100% loyal to the people who work for him, the people who he deems important in his life, 100% loyal to a T. Like, there is no way that he would falter on you, no way he would give up on you, no way that he would, if he was in a romantic relationship with you, cheat on you. There is no betrayal at all in his system. There is nothing that would stop him from supporting you once he has decided he is going to stick by you. And that is a very interesting trait to have with someone who also doesn't mind killing people. He's very confident and cocky. Definitely, especially when it comes to Nevada, likes to bring on the charm and the cockiness, and knowing that he is really all that and that anybody would want him even though he's scary. But as I mentioned just a little bit ago, he does have a very skewed sense of morals, at least for the general population or societal norm that we think of as what good and bad and what's moral and unmoral is. For that sense, it seems very, very skewed. He doesn't see what is wrong with murdering people if they get in his way and they have no value to him. He doesn't see what's wrong with just offing them and getting them out of his way. He doesn't see a problem with the fact that one of the main reasons he joined the army was just to have a certified way to kill people without having reprimandation on it or having to deal with the law in any way. So he really has, for a societal norm of what is right and what is wrong, he is very skewed in his moral compass. He definitely doesn't care about human life. He doesn't have a sense that, like, hey, I shouldn't do this because other people and their hearts and dreams are a reality. So super interesting on that character flaw or character trait or whatever you'd like to call it. I'm not really sure what it is because, like I said, despite that, I actually find him a really good character and I really like him. He is a prime telekinetic, so he is, extraordinary in his magical ability, and he's even, above really what a prime would be. He is over the top amazing with his ability to use magic and how strong his magic is. So definitely someone who's very scary, very, very powerful. His employees, though, are all people from the military, which makes sense since he does have a military background, but he employs everyone who is kind of struggling and has nowhere to go and basically saves them and is very loyal to them. He will always have their backs. He will always have them as somebody who is secure in their job, in their financials, and doesn't let anything that would endanger his people be that way, except for the fact that they do have a dangerous job at times, that he obviously can get into dangerous situations and they have to be prepared for that. So other than doing their jobs, he's going to support them 100% and is loyal and sticks by them, and if they needed anything, he would be there. So that kind of comes with the loyalty aspect, and also comes into the fact, as Nevada points out, he wants to make sure that his people will be loyal to him by treating them and so well and saving them when they have nowhere else to go. And he really is somebody who doesn't do anything half-hearted. Like, really, it's all or nothing when it comes to Mad Rogan. He buys a whole 5,000 flowers just to make a design on Nevada's front porch. So he doesn't do anything halfway. Killing people, he doesn't do it halfway. Saving people, he doesn't do it halfway. If he's gonna set his mind to doing about anything, it's gonna be full force, 100% of his ability, 100% of his focus, and so he can be also a very intense person. Very intense, very cocky, with a skewed sense of morals. And Nevada wonders why she likes him at all, and I wonder why I like him at all, and I wonder if any of you have questioned why you like him, if you do like him. If you don't like him, I would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions of exactly how he doesn't win you over just as much as he has won me over, and Nevada in a lot of ways over by the end of this book. So I'd love to hear your opinion on Mad Rogan. Again, I feel like even just this little breakdown of him does not do him justice, and he is such a complex character with such interesting personality and morals, and he's just interesting. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on and opinions on him. Now, last but not least, let's talk a little bit about the Baylor family. So the Baylor family are all very, very supportive and caring people. All of them care about each other very, very much. They are oriented on having each other's back. When it counts, they are a tight-knit group. Anybody would do anything that's necessary for each other, and they all have each other's backs, which is super, super amazing. You know, some families are not that supportive of each other or do not get along very well, but this family is definitely a tight-knit group, and I really find that really great, especially since Nevada cares about them so much that she would do literally anything, including, you know, agree to find Adam Pierce when he's burning buildings to the ground and murdering people. Her grandma is definitely one of the interesting ones. She's a more prominent character, at least in this first novel. She's definitely a wild thing. She's definitely got her wild side. She is not somebody who is prim and proper or a prude in any way. She definitely thinks that Nevada should actually go out and do more wild things than she's doing. You could definitely tell that in her youth, she probably was not the kind of person that would let anything stand in her way. And if she wanted to pursue something or do anything, she would be all over it. More of a promiscuous type person in her youth, I'm sure. She definitely is funny. I like how she's all about Adam Pierce and Mad Rogan, even though they're super dangerous killers. She's just like, they're hot and like they're amazing anyway. I think she's just a very funny person, and it's also funny that she is a mechanic that likes to build tanks, so take that what you will. I think she's awesome though. I also think her mom is a really nice character. Nevada definitely gets her stubbornness from her mom, and her mom is also a tough nut to crack in the fact that her magic is about guns, and she used to be a sniper and could kill you with, you know, her eyes closed, probably. So you can see from her grandmother and her mother where Nevada gets her own stubbornness, her own will, her own strong, sarcastic humor, all that kind of stuff. You can see that she kind of had it in the previous generations before her coming down to her, and that is her role models are ones that are like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever I want and no one's gonna stand in my way kind of women. And in general, the whole family takes things in stride. They all can have surprises, but I mean, even when those surprises come up, it's not like they don't just go with it. It's not like there's a moment where like they are disbelieving. They're just like, oh really? They recover and then they just move on. Just like the fact that Mad Rogan kind of inserted himself into Nevada's life. After they got over the shock that Mad Rogan was there, or for some people the excitement that Mad Rogan was there, they all just were like, okay, life is normal now. Like, I mean, Mad Rogan's here. He's a dangerous person who could just kill me with a blink of an eye. And just like, okay, cool. Sure. Why not? Let's just all have pancakes together at the breakfast table. So I really find that her family is really great, and I love them a whole lot. Let me know what you think of her family, and if you find any of the ones in particular extra stand out for you. Alright, next I kind of wanted to cover Nevada and Rogan's relationship, because the whole book, though it is about finding Adam Pearce, does have this little dance of Nevada and Rogan kind of circling each other once Rogan enters the picture of the book. And I find it a very interesting dynamic. At first, we really have it where it starts off as a battle of wills between them. And that's literally how they meet, is like he kidnaps her, chains her up in his basement, and has a battle of wills with her. And a little bit of a game of who will crack first in general in their relationship. So it literally starts off with that battle of wills, which he cannot crack her. And then as their relationship extends beyond that basement, they have this dance of like who can crack first, and he's really trying to get her to crack, and she's trying to get him in a way to crack back. Or that sounds so weird to say that sentence like that, I'm sorry. But I hope you get what I mean. She's trying to break down his defenses, and he's, in her way, she's like, okay, I'm trying to make him break and leave me alone, though she doesn't totally want to be left alone. And he's just trying to get her to submit to him because he knows that he wants her romantically fairly quickly, I believe. At least in my opinion, it seems like that's a very quick development. And then it develops a little bit more as they have this dance and they're fighting each other. It develops a little bit more into a partnership where they kind of are like, okay, we're no longer pitting against each other, and he's still trying to get her to give in to him, but it's not quite so butting heads. It turns more into like a gentle lean from him as they're more of a partnership, paralleling each other, going in the same direction this time, towards Adam, towards trying to figure out what's going on and saving the city. And it develops a little bit more of an equal footing, where they're both kind of trying to play on the same plane. And then it blooms into full out Rogan trying to romantically catch Nevada. He is interested in her, and he is making that very clear, and is trying to woo her in the only way that he knows how, like buying 5,000 flowers and putting them in her yard. Or basically just stating, hey, we should have sex and you should be together with me. Real romantic, Rogan. Real romantic. And she is still fighting against him, and no matter how much he's leaning on her now, in order to try and save herself, because she does not believe that his feelings will last longer than it takes to be in the bedroom a night or two. So definitely leaning against wanting to have her, and at the end he has basically all up made a challenge to her that he is going to get her whether she likes it or not. Which she kind of likes it, though she doesn't want to. And last but not least, I do find it very interesting that Nevada views Rogan as a dragon, and she constantly describes him as a dragon, especially when he is doing things that are in his prime element as a magic user. Very pretty, but very dangerous, and has a lot of fire, and that you could be poking something that could eat you right alive. So I do find that that's very interesting. It adds a lot to her sarcasticness and a lot to the dynamic of her liking him, but also finding that she doesn't trust him and doesn't trust her feelings for him. So very interesting relationship, very interesting dynamic. Again, I think part of her is the same feelings that I have for Rogan, is it's like she likes him but doesn't understand why she likes him, or doesn't feel like she should like him, since he is someone who has such loose morals and she is someone who has such strong morals. So very, very interesting combination, very interesting pair that Ilona Andrews wrote to be in this story together. So let me know what you think of their relationship, if you like it, if you dislike it, if you agree with it, if you think Nevada would or wouldn't be with Mad Rogan. If you think Mad Rogan would be a good person to be in a relationship with, if that was what he chose to be, because since he is so loyal. Just love to hear your thoughts. And last but not least, let's go ahead and talk about the world and the world building that we have constantly going on throughout this first book. In fact, this world that Ilona Andrews made is very, very interesting. It's one of my favorites. I find it super, super interesting concept. I find it super interesting to think about, to see how people live in this world. I think it's super, super neat. Especially for urban fantasy. I think it's a very different take than a lot of other urban fantasy stories take. Since it is basically magic related only. It doesn't have, vampires and werewolves and all that kind of stuff. And it seems very realistic to me on what this world could be like with magic in it. I do feel like she creates a very genuine experience of what could be the case if there was a way to make magic available in our real world. It all started with a magic serum called the Osiris serum. And this particular serum was developed and made it so that those who were administered it developed magical abilities. If they had magical abilities, that is, to, and to have manifest. And from that, it changed people's DNA or whatever part of their biological makeup that then made it so it passed down from generation to generation to have that opening of magical abilities. And it's definitely the starting point of a whole world revolution. And the fact that the world as we know it branched away from where we're at to a whole brand new world, truly changed the way things work, changed the way society runs, changed everything. So super interesting that this is something that was created in a lab and thought of, and I don't know necessarily if they were trying to make it so that way people could have magic and that was what that serum was for, or if it was a serum that just ended up being, that's what brought out the magic, is that it was developed for something else, and instead of doing what it was supposed to do, it developed magic, because we don't have that specific explanation of like exactly why it was developed or how it was developed. We just know that it was developed and that was what started magic coming out. And with this magic, as people have strong magic, there became the development of houses. So houses are families with very strong magical people in it. A line that has really strong magic of a particular kind. And they own a lot of money, they own businesses, they basically run the towns that they are stationed in. They are the rulers, essentially, of their little area. Sure, there are still laws, sure, there are still Police, sure, there are still lots of different things that are supposed to govern the world like we have the world governed today. But houses are very rich, very powerful, very much influencers of the community. So what they want, what they say goes, and they can easily bribe their way into whatever they want if something does happen. They can sweep things under the rug very, very easily. It's basically the world is run by the houses. And the houses contend against each other, of course, and they are constantly trying to maintain their ability to control everyone by matching themselves with other magic users that are strong that can continue to produce children with that same ability. They can basically get away with whatever they want. And because of that, no one can escape, whatever it is that they declare as theirs, that they demand of the people. Just like with House Montgomery, they were powerful enough that when Nevada's family needed money, they sold their business to them in order to pay it off their bill with them. They were like, okay, no problem. They're just a small firm. We will own you as you pay back to own your business again. And then as things happened, they made this contract that then Nevada must do whatever they have her do, or if they ask her to do any cases, that she must take it. And they have that ability to absolutely crush her and her family very, very easily. But Nevada is a person that we can see as an average everyday person, that the house is who you go to when you need help. They needed money, they needed help that way financially, and so they went to the house to get it. And then the house could crush them as they see fit. But really just things don't apply to them the same way. The police don't look at them the same way. The police can ignore certain things that they wouldn't for other people. And the houses can step in and do whatever they want, really, whenever they want. The only exception is like with this case with Adam Pierce, it being so public, so big. But even though the cops are after Adam, they do hire their own private investigator to give Adam back to them. And their house is just easily wanting to just ship him off out of the country so he won't be in trouble. And they have the ability and the means to do so. And then we also have genetic deviations in this world. So we've got the houses, we've got this manifestation of magic, and with that manifestation of magic, they also had a manifestation of genetic deviations. People who didn't inherit magic, and instead their genetics just morphed and shifted into creature-like things. And it turned them into that serum that originally, started magic, also changed some people into monsters, or genetically change them in some way that makes them no longer strictly human. So instead of having like magical creatures or dragons or vampires or paranormal things, instead we have the same thing that created magic also creating people who are genetically changed and then are a part of this world instead of those other elements. All right, I think that is it for what I have to say on Burn For Me. I really love this book series a whole lot. It's one of my favorite urban fantasy book series, so I'd love, love, love to hear what you guys think about what I have talked about in this video, as well as if you think I missed anything, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, anything that you think, anything that's the same as me, different from me, you think I missed something, you think I got something wrong, just let me know. I'd love to hear it. You're welcome to comment down below if that's the best place for you, or you're also welcome to reach me on Facebook, which is /fantasyfiction1. You're also welcome to contact me on Twitter, which is @fantasyfiction1. If you'd like more content from me, you can check out my blog, fantasyfictionfanatics.net. It has book reviews, book recommendations. It's got deliberations from me on different topics of fantasy or reading, writing tips, all kinds of things on there. So go ahead and check that out. You're also welcome to join the newsletter over there if you are interested in getting some monthly updates from me. Also, if you would like to talk to your fellow fantasy fanatics, go ahead and join the Discord. It will be down below, your link to join if you haven't already. We've got tons of people over there now, starting to really boom, and people are talking about all things fantasy related, regular life related, anything at all, it's on there. So if you want to discuss this here on there, that would be awesome. Or you're also welcome to talk about any other kind of things that you'd like over there with us. We'd be happy to have you join us as well. And I think that is it for today. So I guess I will see you guys in the next class. Bye.